31 employees quit Halbrook Manufacturing in 6 months, and every single one of them went to work for the man the plant manager forced out the front door. Emmett Cross had run the assembly floor at Halbrook for 15 years, and the day they pushed him out, they told the whole shift he was replaceable. His daughter Sadie was 8, and she carried a stuffed hedgehog named Pepper into the parking lot the morning she watched her father clean out his locker. "Nobody here needs you specifically," said plant manager Curtis Doyle, tossing Emmett's badge in the trash. 6 months later, half that floor worked for Emmett instead. Stay till the end. You'll see exactly how. The firing happened on the shop floor at shift change, 40 workers watching from the line. Doyle stood by the time clock, voice pitched loud enough to carry over the machines. 15 years and you still think this place can't run without you, he said, smirking. That's the problem with guys like you. Emmett didn't argue. He unclipped his badge, folded his work gloves once, twice, 3 times, and set them on the bench. Sadie stood by the break room door, Pepper clutched to her chest, watching her father say nothing back. Emmett picked up his box and walked past the line he'd trained half the plant to run. Nobody on the floor said a word as he passed. His wife had been gone 16 months. That was the only sentence he let himself say about it. The unemployment check wouldn't cover Sadie's daycare past the month, and her sneakers had a hole worn through at the toe. Reg, the old floor supervisor who'd worked beside Emmett for a decade, was the only one who still called him by his real title in the parking lot. "Nobody trains a crew like you do," Reg said one evening. "This plant's going to feel that gap fast." Emmett didn't answer that either. At home, he knelt to tuck Pepper under Sadie's arm before bed. The same fold every night, spines flat, then the nose. "Daddy," she said, "you keep writing in that notebook like it's a plan." He turned off the lamp without a word. Tomorrow, he told himself. Tomorrow he'd stop pretending he didn't already have one. The safety violations had been stacking up for 11 months before Emmett was fired, and Doyle had buried every report that crossed his desk. Emmett had kept his own copies, not the company file, his own, kept in a drawer at home out of habit. 1 entry per incident, dated and initialed. Not a coincidence, a pattern, logged by hand for nearly a year. Doyle had laughed off Emmett's warnings about the injury numbers 3 times before the layoff, calling him overly cautious. Emmett used his last paycheck and a small workshop lease to open Cross Fabrication 2 towns over, offering the same wage Halbrook paid and better safety standards on day 1. He said one line to Reg over the phone, quiet, at midnight. "If Halbrook won't protect them, somebody else has to." He posted the job openings himself, 1 flyer at a time, at the diner where the crew ate lunch. He didn't run an ad campaign. He handed Reg a folder of his own safety logs to distribute quietly among the workers still deciding whether to jump, and waited by the phone for the calls to start. By the 3rd month, that folder had made its way to a labor board investigator following up on an anonymous tip. "These incident dates," said investigator Paulette Kim, tapping 1 line twice, "go back almost a year before the OSHA complaint." Doyle reached for the folder. Those are personal notes. That's not official." "They're dated and witnessed on every page," she said. He had nothing after that. Reg, standing beside her, spoke up. "He flagged this to Curtis 3 times, Reg said. "Curtis told him to stop making trouble." Kim closed the folder slowly and looked toward the parking lot, where Emmett stood by his new truck, work gloves tucked into his back pocket out of habit. "You documented all of this on your own time," she said, not a question. "Somebody had to," Emmett said. "I just wrote down what the floor already knew." Halbrook's safety citation went public that same week. Doyle had no folder left to point to. Kim found Emmett at his new shop a week later, Sadie waiting on a stool with Pepper in her lap. "There's a federal contract," Kim said. "Halbrook lost it over the citation. Your shop's next in line. 1 condition. You keep filing the truth, even when it's inconvenient." Emmett didn't answer right away. Kim crouched down instead, knees against the concrete floor, eye to eye, with an 8-year-old and a worn stuffed hedgehog missing 1 spine. "Your dad built somewhere safer because nobody else would," she said softly. Sadie looked at her, then at her father, then back. "I know," she said. "He already knew the old place wasn't safe. He just needed somewhere else to build." Emmett knelt down too, retying the loose seam on Pepper's ear, and reached for the next stack of job applications waiting on the counter behind him.